Hello all, let us look into this project, the title of which is AI-driven Plant Disease Detection System. Now, this project is related to agriculture, and agriculture plays important role in the economy of any nation. The large number of farmers whose livelihood is dependent on agriculture are going to benefit from this project if we are able to successfully implement it. Now, when we talk of agriculture, we know that there are multiple challenges in earning a livelihood through agriculture. The fluctuation of weather is one of the important causes for loss in crops and other difficulties that the farmer face. But another important challenge for farmers is the plant disease and the pests that are harmful for the crops. It leads to significant loss of crops and negatively impact farmers' income. Let us look into the immensity of this problem. Now, this is a report from Economic Times, and it is saying that the crops worth of 50,000 crores is lost due to pest and diseases. Now, this 50,000 crore is a very huge amount, a very significant amount. And you see, if we can save some part of it or a significant part of it, how much it will benefit and how much it will improve the lives of the farmers. So let us see what solution we have for this problem and how much it can impact the farmers. Now, goal of this project is to help agricultural scientists and agriculture related workers who will be able to identify plant diseases and suggest remedies for them. Remember that it is not directly related to farmers, but it will indirectly benefit the farmers. So farmers, as it is, the project is being implemented, may not benefit directly, but indirectly it will benefit them. And how the project will help in the spread of infections and reduce the crop losses and increase productivity. That is the attempts that we are going to make in this project. Let us go further. The technical approach we are going to follow in this project is that we are going to use machine learning, deep learning, and convolutional neural networks, that is the CNN. Now, we all know that machine learning is a field of AI that enables systems to learn and improve from experience without being explicitly programmed. Now, it utilizes algorithms to analyze data, identify patterns, and make decisions. Now, it will be interesting to understand what is the difference between machine learning and deep learning. And the difference is simple, that deep learning employs neural networks for the same task that machine learning is doing. And this deep learning uses multiple and a deep layer of neural networks. That's why the term deep learning is there, for doing the job which machine learning is doing. And what about convolutional neural networks? That is the CNN. So CNN is the machine learning or deep learning model for images type of data. Now you see that the leaves are in the images type of data, and CNN is the best bet for this problem. We can train the model to identify features of diseased leaves and plants, and it will be able to distinguish between healthy plants and the diseased plants. So that is why we are using the CNN model of deep learning. Now, what is the technology stack that we will be using, and what is the technology stacks that you will be learning? And you can see that we have defined the front end, back end, database, Python integration, machine learning, and API and communication. But basically, you see, it is the MERN stack that we are using, plus some additional things. The MongoDB, we are using Express.js, React.js, and Node.js. That is what we are using, where Node.js is for server-side applications and Express.js is for the server-side communication part for it. Now, when we come to Python integration, then the coding part will be done by the Python, connecting the client to the machine learning model, which is hosted at some place, and maybe it is a cloud or a server, wherever it is hosted. The Python will help communicate the client to the machine learning model and exchange of data between them. That is the plan. And API will help the function calls from the client to the CNN model that is hosted. That will be done by the API communication that will use HTTP, HTTPS, and RESTful APIs. And that is the technology stack that we will be using. Now, most important part of this is the where the model will be hosted and how we will host it, or we will construct it, and how we will do the inferencing part of it. Inferencing means that inputting something and getting the output. So in this case, inputting is a leaf that may be diseased, and output is if it is diseased, then what type of diseases it is happening, or it is a healthy leaf. That is the output that we are going to get from this. Now, we will be using a web-based machine learning platform like Hugging Face, which has pre-trained models, which may be CNN or other types of models may be hosted by Hugging Face, but we will be using the convolutional neural networks, which are hosted on Hugging Face. And the interesting part is that it is easy to access the Hugging Face CNN model because it provides for API calls for making the inferencing part. So the coding part of calling the Hugging Face models is not difficult. The way we are doing it, it is not difficult. Now, what the API call will do, it will help upload the image from the client to the Hugging Face model. The Hugging Face model is having the CNN network. It will do the processing, and the API calls will give the returns back to the user. So that is how the hosted model will help us. Now, for this complete application, you will be designing a website. And as we discussed earlier, it will be using the MERN stack. And what are the various web pages that you will have to develop? You have the home page for overview and navigation. You have role-based authentication for uses for the admin, one type of role, and user or a guest, and other types of roles are there. So there will be authentication at various levels, and the access will be given to admin to the maximum level and to the guest user to the minimum level. Now you should have a page for upload and diagnostic page where the leaf images can be uploaded to the Hugging Face CNN model where it is hosted. Now the model will give us certain results. So we have the results page, which will be displaying the whether the disease, the leaf is a diseased one or a healthy one. So that will appear in the results page. We have a history page to track past diagnostics. We have a frequently asked page for common questions and answers. We have a feedback page and interactive plant database. That is for information, further information about the plants and the diseases. That will be stored in an interactive plant database for which we have MongoDB. Now let us look into the backend design also. So the server is populated with Node.js and Express.js that will help communication between the client and the CNN model. The database, as you can see, is the MongoDB database, and it stores information about the user schema, the data about the user, the diagnostic schema, that is the information about the leaves and the disease leaves, and the feedback schema, that is user is giving certain feedback, then that feedback is also stored in the database. Now, the model integration is with the client and the CNN model. The integration is done using the Node.js and Express.js, as we have seen earlier. And the API calls, what they will do, they will help upload the page to the CNN model. CNN model will process, and the downloading of the result will be done in the model integration part. So that is the plan over here. The tools that we will be using for this, we have already discussed those. Now, once this project is completed, then there is an optional feature that is, it is not mandatory to do this, but it will be interesting, and it is for those who love technical challenges, that they can build these additional features for the project. And I will list out those. This is multilingual and audio support for increased accessibility and reach. Then we have a blog resource page that you can integrate with this website for sharing of information, live chat for real-time sharing of information, and mobile app integration that will help the farmers, because farmers using mobiles, they can do the diagnostics themselves. So in that way, it will benefit the farmers directly if you build a mobile app for this project. Now, the most challenging and the most difficult part is direct model interaction. Now, what does this mean? So when we are doing the API calls, we are not really concerned about the model, what is the mathematics behind the model, and what are the various parameters the model is having, how we can change the parameters, how we can change the model. All these things which are behind the curtain, we don't know anything. We're just making the call and getting the result. But for doing all these things that I just mentioned, we can use the direct model interaction style. And for this, we will be using the same Hugging Face style, and we will be using the CNN or related model, but we will be doing the coding part in Python, a bit of coding part from our side. For this, we will be using the Hugging Face transformers library and various classes associated with calling of the model and getting the results. This will enable us to set multiple parameters of the model, and we can customize it according to our requirements. This is very interesting, and it is for those who love challenges that this part can be done, which is called as the direct model interaction. And then once the model is ready, we can deploy it for inferencing. So it may be deployed on a server, it may be deployed on a cloud, or it may be deployed on your local system as well. So that is the complete picture which I have given to you. The mandatory part is there and the advanced features part is there. Those who want to do the advanced features, it is optional, but it will be beneficial if you can do both of them. Now, before concluding, I will also talk about who will be the beneficiaries of this system. Now, we have seen that the agricultural scientists are going to use the present project and as it has been developed till now. What has been done will be benefit to the agricultural scientists, and only indirectly farmers will benefit from it. Now, we also mentioned that if you make a mobile interface, farmers can use the project directly. Now, besides of these, there are researchers and policy makers who can use this project. Now, how it can be useful for researchers and policy makers, I leave it as exercise for you. What are the changes that you should do in the project so it can benefit directly the researchers and directly the policy makers? I leave it to you as an exercise, and I conclude here. And if you have any questions, you can ask me on my email, which is given at the beginning of the project. Thank you. Any questions are there, you can send me on mail. Thank you once again.